thank you for all valid questions that you have. I would,
Thank you.
them to. Anyone else with any comments? Okay, special requests. Here's where we come down to 5.1. The York County Library, Northeastern Community Cares Coalition, I forget all the acronym stands for and all that stuff, but they have a group that they would be interested in using our lobby as a library just to pick up and drop off. People pick up books, drop them off, pick them up. There is a Teams meeting that I was invited to this Thursday at 1 o'clock. And I wanted to bring it to the board's attention that I'll find a lot more out after Thursday. It doesn't sound like it's going to be too intrusive with us. However, I cautioned them that if you utilize this location, the children with bicycles or walkers, it's dangerous out here, especially next to Route 24. There's no sidewalks, and that will have to be raised to them if they want to continue to pursue using our building. So just wanted to give you a heads up that that's what they're after.
Okay, thank you.
It wouldn't be a large number of books. It might be a little bookshelf.
Big Manchester Township, they do that there. They're right at their office.
Yeah.
Is it on the inside or the outside?
Theirs is in the inside.
I'll tell them it's business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, it would just sit somewhere out there as well. Okay, yeah, I don't see why that would be an issue.
You can put a plan on it.
Make it look pretty.
Yeah.
All right. Deb would love that.
Okay, it takes us to subdivision and land development plans, section 6. We all had a chance to review the planning commission draft minutes, correct?
Yes.
Any questions on those minutes? So
I
that,
actually have one, but it doesn't deal with this issue.
okay. So that moves us into 6.2, the final, excuse me, computer. Final minor subdivision for Rebecca A. Gross, Jerusalem School Road, and her attorney Joe Gurney is here with First Capital Engineering. The floor is yours.
Not an attorney.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I don't want to get any.
That's
I'm
like-
married to one.
That's like yelling.
I'm married to
one.
Again, Joe Gurney, First Capital Engineering, here tonight with Rebecca Gross, who's the applicant. Rebecca would like to subdivide their property at 365, excuse me, Jerusalem School Road at 79.94 acres in size right now. It's going to be subdivided into 5 lots. The existing house will remain on lot number 3. The remaining 4 lots are buildable. Each one of those lots will have a separate and private driveway out onto Jerusalem School Road, excuse me, not Schoolhouse Road. On-lot wells, on-lot septic systems are proposed. We were at the Planning Commission on the 22nd of July. They gave a favorable recommendation to the Board of Supervisors for the approval of the modifications, waivers, in the plan. At that meeting, there were a couple of items that were discussed and were not written down, but I took notes and addressed those things and resubmitted those to the township on July 29th. Before I go any further, I have 11 by 17s if you need them, and I have a couple of full-size plans if you'd like. I can bring them up. So just say, hey, Joe, can you bring those up? So you'll probably have them on the screen. So on the 29th, we addressed, like I said, there were some discussion points at the Planning Commission meeting on the 22nd, and I'll just go through them real quick. The date of the final plan was revised to April 21st. Proposed lot addresses were added to the cover sheet. General note number 18 regarding lot number 4 was added. General note number 19 regarding lot number 5 was added to the plan. And then notification from Texas Eastern and Columbia Gas was provided. So after that discussion, we got the report of planning action from Kate Snyder, and we're here tonight to talk about the plan and look for approvals on the plan, the waivers and modifications, and the resolution for plan revision, which is associated with the planning module, which I gave new copies to Christie while I was here. There's a number of items, a number of pages on there that need to be signed off, completed by the township. So she has the most updated planning module. So if you guys have any questions for myself or Rebecca, we can talk about them right now.
Could you go down the Planning Commission action report?
Sure. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, all of these comments that are on this letter were addressed back in June and resubmitted, but I can go through
Yes.
that for you. Item 1, driveways, except for driveway 2. I'm probably not going to read all of that. That had to do with the individual driveways. At the beginning of the project, there's a couple of existing driveways at the edges of the project that were intended to be utilized for access when we first started. We met with staff a couple of times and determined it's probably a better idea for each individual lot to pull a driveway permit when they go to build their homes and have private on-lot driveways that are all to themselves. So each lot 3 has its own driveway. The other 4 lots that are buildable will have their own individual private driveway instead of a shared driveway. So that was kind of a synopsis of this big first comment here.
Right, and then therefore you
So-
wouldn't need the waiver for that then.
Correct.
Great.
And I believe at Planning Commission, we withdrew that, if I'm not mistaken. But if we didn't, we can always withdraw it tonight. Going down to item 2A, signatures, that'll be prior to the recording of the final plan. Recreation fee, that fee was given to Ms. Gross, and that will have to be submitted to the township prior to recording. Revision dates, sell sheets have been added, addresses have been added. Planning module, as I said, I gave new copies of the planning module, things the township needs to sign, fill in, and complete. And then once that's done, then we'll submit up the PADP for their review and approval. And the item number 7, Texas Eastern and Columbia Gas, this resubmission I made July 29th had the correspondence from those folks. They are aware of the subdivision and have acknowledged it. York County Planning Commission, statement of ownership, as I said, that will be completed prior to plan recording. Letters from Texas Eastern, same answer as before. Columbia Gas, planning module, those have all been addressed except for the planning module. Like I said, it's got to be, certain portions got to be completed by the township and we got to submit to DEP in Harrisburg. Waivers, final plan requirements, we asked for a waiver of that. This is it's a 5-lot subdivision. The threshold is 4, but one of the lots already has a home on it. So that is the basis of asking for that waiver. Grading, driveway, erosion sediment control, stormwater damage control plan. As discussed with staff, we've asked for waivers of those because whoever purchases a lot is going to want to build their house a certain spot. Could be close to the road, could be far away from the road. So what will happen is prior to the issuance of that building permit, they'll have to do grading, stormwater, erosion sediment control, any and all permits that are needed, driveway permit, and all of that will be submitted to the township prior to the issuance of a building permit. So that was the alternative standard to that.
I just have a quick question. So then it looks like you did withdraw the driveway.
Correct. I thought we did.
But this is a different driveway section relevant to your other 2 waivers, correct? Or no? Just trying to clarify.
Well, the driveway is a waiver of providing installing and getting a driveway permit at this point in time.
Okay,
And
very
deferring it to when the house gets built. So stormwater, ENS, all of those kind of grading will all happen, and all of those things will The alternate standard is to defer those requirements to a
Right.
later date. We're not really waiving them. They're kind of, probably a better word is deferring them.
Very good, thank you.
And I think that's it, unless you folks have some questions for me.
I have some questions for Byron.
Sure.
Byron, let me go to my notes here. Has Mr. Mortorf's and Andy Miller's request been met?
I'm sorry, are you asking which item was read?
No, Christie's gonna handle that, but, I know Lehman had some issues and they were,
Yes, most of our issues had to deal with the driveways, shared driveways and things on that. Going down with what Lane and I went through prior to the meeting, we have 3 items open at this point, which is signatures, rec fee, and the planning module.
Yep.
So-
And then, when I looked at Attorney Miller's, notes, it looks like we just need confirmatory deeds, and I think you did provide that, Joe? Is that
Pardon me?
correct? Did you provide confirmatory deeds?
No, we provided legal descriptions. We don't write deeds.
Okay, so that will be.
The
included
legal
as a
descriptions are, I think, are on the last sheet for all the
Yeah.
new lots.
Number 6. Okay, otherwise it appeared everything else on MPL's letter was complete. Do you agree, Byron, or was there anything else?
Yeah, there's,
Okay.
like I said, our major concerns have all been addressed.
Okay.
Primarily with the individual drivers. You just have to be comfortable with the waivers, is that they're deferring notice until the building permits, basically because of the building, and the lot sizes, et cetera. Which we're fine with, it just, whoever comes in with the building permit will have to review that.
These are repetitive.
So 2A, 2F,
And
2J.
2J. And then number 6 on MPL's letter, confirmatory deeds. And then it would be all of these, including that one, because originally I thought it was shared access. It's not. They need that one. Okay.
one final question I have, then I'll turn to my colleagues. Are we okay with the acknowledgement letter from Texas Eastern and gas company and all that? With that line going through the properties?
I am, because if they decide, when they come in for their building permits for those individual lots, if again, the comment come up, hey, are you grading over top of that point in time, I'm going to ask for a more defined, that they would be showing grading or construction or access across. So depending on whoever applies for the building permit, they may have to provide us with additional information. We don't know where the house is.
Well, my concern would be, is the property owner protected that these big corporations cannot come back and require something that's out of this world?
In the past, we've been dealing with them, as, provided that, they could say, hey, you can't change the grade over top, or you have to provide something to go across a gas easement or something like that. It could be some kind of construction activity, like a little, I'll call it a bridge, it's really not a bridge, but like some kind of construction with a bridge to cross over that and protect their gas line. That's all within their normal regulations to access across the gas line.
And that might be a question for John. I just want to make sure that you're protected in the future from them. Questions, gentlemen?
Item 1, Byron, up the sixth line down, it says proposed 30-inch easement. Should that be 30 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no proposed easement. That went away with the elimination of the shared driveways. So that's, basically that first paragraph, that paragraph goes away because we're putting individual driveways on every lot. At the beginning, there's a couple of driveways on the perimeters that we were thinking, hey, we're gonna share these. And we're gonna put them in easements because they didn't exist, and then it's just a little too cumbersome.
Yeah, so when we're dealing with shared access, we're asking for access agreements and.
Maintenance agreements,
and all this stuff.
bringing it up to
Shared
standards.
driveways. They, what we wanted, what staff wanted from the beginning, show us individual driveways on each individual lot, and then all that, basically comment number one disappears.
Okay. That's all I have.
None for me, thank you.
Okay, do I have to give the number? I just do it recreation committee.
Yep, you can just do that. You don't need the numbers.
Okay, I will make a motion that we approve the final minor subdivision plan for 365 Jerusalem School Road, East Manchester Township, with the following conditions of approval. Item number 2A, signatures. 2F, recreation fee. J, thanks. Item 2J, planning module approval. I can't see her. Item 3E, statement of ownership. Item 3M, sewage planning module.
What was the last
Last one was 3M, sewage planning module. And with the following waivers approved: final plan requirements, grading, driveway, erosion and sediment control, and stormwater damage control. And the numbers are listed here for, to get into the minutes.
Mhm.
And one last item, I think. It's item number 6. Where is that? 6. Confirmatory deeds of all 5 lots will need to be provided for approval. That's my motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Further discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
2 questions.
Thank you.
Can I have the MPL letter? Because I do not have that. A copy
That's
of
going
it.
to cost you.
We'll email it to you.
I think I got a 20.
And,
2, with the planning module, there's within there's a resolution for plan revision that needs an adoption. So I think you might have to act on that.
It's a new one? Because
No.
they've already acted on it. They did act on the resolution at the last meeting.
Okay, I didn't know if the supervisors needed to act on it in order for you to sign it.
I'll look at it real quick, but if it's the same exact thing you gave me the last time,
Yeah,
they,
I didn't know if it needed to happen here as well.
no, they passed a resolution, we have her.
Yep.
We're good.
I'm just checking.
Yep.
Dave,
Yes,
you have to act on the waivers.
He did.
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, everybody. I would appreciate the MPL.
I have that right now, I'm getting ready to send it.
Oh, okay, just email it to me.
Yep.
Appreciate it. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, takes us down to solicitor's report.
First item is the noise ordinance amendment, ordinance number 2025-6. That ordinance has been advertised and is ready for adoption. The board would like to proceed with adopting that ordinance amendment for noise.
I will make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 2025-6.
Second that?
Discussions? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 The next two items will both require a hearing, and I recommend having 2 separate hearings since they're 2 separate matters that have been advertised separately. The first one is the zoning ordinance amendment, ordinance number 2025-7. This is going to amend the zoning ordinance to cross-reference the noise ordinance update, and it has been properly advertised, and the board can conduct a hearing to adopt that ordinance.
Okay, give me a moment, please. Okay, at this time, 6:30. I would like to open the hearing for ordinance number 2025-7. That's a noise ordinance amendments within the zoning ordinance. And we have been discussing this, for the last 2-3 months. So I think we're well versed on that, but it pains me to go into a hearing and ask for testimony when no one really, I should explain what.
And I can help out with that. So essentially, the zoning ordinance is being amended to address the noise and, sound pressure levels to be up to date with the times, as our ordinance was very outdated, and essentially makes it more enforceable for us to deal with many items that we have been dealing with more frequently, including truck noise and industrialization noise, when it comes to residential being in close proximity. So essentially, for this particular hearing, this is for the zoning amendment portion. What was just passed previously to the opening of this hearing was the completely newly adopted standalone ordinance for the noise, pressure, sound levels. And then this is just merely making it match what that standalone ordinance says, so that our ordinances are, all in flow with each other. Pretty much how that sums up. If you have any questions, you may ask us during this hearing.
I'll open it up to any questions at this time in the hearing. Yes?
Now, how can it be enforced when it varies, depending on vehicular traffic in parking lots, rear units running, turning on and off, refrigeration units on the roof and everything, turning on and off, where, you're hearing for 3 hours and all of a sudden you record it, it turns off. How can that be addressed then?
That is the tough part, when it comes and goes, the vibration, air vibration, that sort of thing. What we're going to do is all new industrial buildings that are going to be built within our area is going to have a sound model done. And that's going to be our baseline. And we have a professional sound engineer that will come in and do a study. Our study, not the company's study. And they will come in and see if there is a violation. If it is a violation, then we'll get together and we'll figure out how to mitigate it. But that's what we're trying to beef up our ordinance, because last time it didn't.
Well, it was, as you said, sorry, but it was outdated. The technology's obviously changed, and so newer technology can measure things differently. But it is constant sound versus intermittent sound, and that's certainly one of the challenges. But as the chairman mentioned, when someone comes in to build some industrial building, warehouse or otherwise, there'll be a sound model that gets built based on the equipment that they expect to put in there. And then they can take all that equipment, put it into the sound model, and come back and say, well, these should be the sound levels, and they're within the requirements of the ordinance. And then this particular hearing is to tie that new noise ordinance into all the zoning things as well. So it stitches everything together from a standpoint. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. Intermittent sounds are still going to be a challenge.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. The noise model will take in topography, will take in the geological makeup of the ground. They are going to be sensitive to air vibration as well as ground vibration and that sort of thing, intermittent stuff. So we've come a long way, and this closes some gaps for us. Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll open the hearing up for anyone who wants to speak in dissent of us passing this ordinance. Okay, I'll close that portion, seeing none. I'll open the hearing up for anyone who wants to voice an opinion in favor of having this ordinance passed. Yeah. Okay, seeing none, comments from the supervisors?
I think it makes sense. We need to do it. It's the right thing to do.
What we establish now does not grandfather in the other businesses out there.
Refer to the manager. I thought we did somewhat, but we don't have no grounds.
So basically, what Attorney Miller described to me is that if we have a problem with something that comes up, someone did an alteration to their building that's new, and now there's a new noise as a result of that new installation, that's a little bit easier because they did something new. Now, if nothing new was done to their building and it's just a new noise, we have always used common sense, and I'm glad to see that it's in here that we are required to use the friendly approach first, which has resolved most of our complaints that we've come across quicker. And I have at least a handful of those that I did personally that got resolved just by me talking to the maintenance guy, because you could clearly hear that there was a problem with a piece of equipment that went bad that was causing a lot of noise. And so that's easily resolved. However, if the company is not responsive to my reach out, the ordinance provides for me to send an official enforcement letter saying you have until this date to reach out to us and, get this resolved, or we will do a noise study. However, the Board of Supervisors are required to authorize that noise study first because it's not cheap. It's like 20 grand, okay? So, and that's just a ballpark based off of our previous discussions here in these public meetings. So since it's significant, the board would have to determine based on a case-by-case basis on if we would do that sound study. If it's authorized and we conduct the sound study and it shows that they are in violation, then we can basically get our money back, and they need to correct the sound levels to the appropriate sound levels to meet the ordinance, to not be in violation anymore. However, if they are not in violation per our ordinance, then we eat that cost. But then we can come here and say, we did a study and they are not in violation of our ordinance. So.
Now, of course, this is all old construction you're talking about.
Yeah, that's how the normal procedure would go for enforcement of all sound, yeah.
Yeah, new construction, that cost will be borne by the developer when they.
That's correct. They signed, it's going to be in their agreement essentially.
I know, I thought of this too. It's like closing the barn door after the horse is out in some instances, but we still have some space available for industrial, so we got to think ahead. We got to stay with the times. So that's what this is all about.
Thank you.
Any comments? More?
No.
I'll close the hearing. Oh, one more.
So does that mean that I really don't have much of a recourse unless they change something over there to get anything done?
No, well, they still have to stay within a parameter, but basically what you just said was correct. If they put a new chiller units on top or fans or anything like that, yeah, then we can go out and check that out. We would check it out first. Our engineers would check it out before we would trigger a full-blown. But we have the ability to do that.
I know that there's times where, there might only be 4 or 5 trailers on our side of the building, but some of those reefer units, they're not quiet. Some are a lot louder than others. So it's kind of, and they're sitting there all night. So you're putting up with it for 14 hours a day, listening to this stuff.
Yeah.
I do want to add that Attorney Miller did give us law a couple meetings ago regarding reefer units and how they are exempt in some ways, because they are legally allowed to run, because of the nature of what they are required to do, and that is what they do, is they run because of the cold product on the inside. So there is some law that protects them as well. So I think that that would have to be assessed and addressed at that time of whatever you're experiencing. If it's more than what it was before, your situation's a little difficult because they have done 2 sound studies already. And they didn't base it off of our ordinances. They based it off of all of Pennsylvania standards. So and both studies clearly said our ordinances were out of date. However, they were comparing them to the Pennsylvania standards anyways to show that they were in compliance. So it makes it really hard is all. It would be a big decision for the board to weigh in depending on that noise. So if it is something new, it makes it easier for us to say, okay, Mike, let's reach out to them. It's something new because they pulled a permit. We know they installed something. Let's go for it. But it's hard to do it with existing conditions is all for yours because there was 2 existing studies already that showed there was no violation. But we're trying, so we can watch it. And Kate can put a note in the system that says, be wary of what kind of permits they pull to see if it would generate noise maybe, we can talk about it. All right? We'll work on it.
Okay, this time, 6:41, I'm gonna close the hearing.
Well, before you close the hearing, does the board want to make a decision on the record?
I thought that came after the close of testimony and all.
So we're done with testimony, but we're gonna keep the hearing open for the portion for the board to make
Oh,
a
okay, you
decision.
wanna keep the hearing open
Just
for the ordinance?
So that it's on the record what the
Adoption.
board's decision is.
Okay.
Correct.
So we're not closing the hearing, but we're going to take a vote on whether we adopt ordinance number 2025-7, noise ordinance amendments within the zoning ordinance. Is there a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion for approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is adopted unanimously, and I can close the hearing.
Yes.
Thanks. Now I'm going to open another hearing, and this, I hope, will take a little less time. This hearing is for ordinance 2025-8, noise ordinance amendments within the SALDO. Please explain to the audience within the SALDO.
The SALDO essentially requires new land development plans to address the base sound studies ahead of time and to give us a description of what will be on the rooftops. And we make every effort to require these units for, on the top of the rooftop, furthest away from residents. And that's pretty much what it does, is it governs what new land development can and cannot do, so that we catch it right at the beginning.
So at the beginning, when we do our sound study on any new industrial areas coming in, they will attempt on mitigating sound before we even day one.
That's correct.
Okay. That was important for us to know. So at this point in time, I'm going to open the hearing up for anyone who wishes to oppose ordinance 2025-8. I'll close the floor for that portion and open the floor for anyone who wishes to give us some in favor testimony for the ordinance. Seeing none, I'll close the testimonial part of the hearing and I'll open it up to the supervisors for discussion.
I think we should approve it and move forward for all the reasons previously mentioned.
Likewise.
So I will entertain a motion for 2025-8.
I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 2025-8 to amend the amendments with the sound ordinance.
I'll second that.
And we have a motion and we have a second. Discussion. All in favor of the ordinance, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion 2025-8, Norris ordinance amendments within the Saldo is approved unanimously, and I'll close the hearing.
All that noise for-
The last item on the solicitor's report is the data center ordinance. The ordinance has been provided to the planning commission, but we haven't gotten comments back from them yet. But it is on the agenda this evening, so if the board wants to discuss any portion of the ordinance, we can. And the original idea was that if the planning commission had provided their recommendation prior to tonight's meeting, that the board could decide to authorize MPL to advertise and post notice for the September meeting if there are no changes. So that's something that you can consider doing. But if you have changes that you want to make or would prefer to wait until you have the planning commission's review and recommendation in hand, then we can postpone it to discussion to the September meeting.
My preference, gentlemen, would be to wait until we get back our planning commission's comments and your counties. That way we can make any necessary changes and send it for advertisement. It will delay it a month, but I think it's worth it.
I agree. Agreed.
Also, we received from York County Planning Commission an email that they created a model data center ordinance because of this becoming a big interested item. So I'm gonna forward that to each of you. So if any of you, have any ideas that you'd wanna see in our data ordinance that Andy already drafted, then I can let him know that you'd like to see that. But when I looked at it, it's definitely a lot bigger than ours. Ours is straight and to the point. I don't think ours is bad, but I think what they're doing is, from all the research and then of course from all the other municipalities that are starting to look into it as well, they kind of combined a lot of them together. But it's up to you. I'll forward it to you, okay?
Good.
Should we provide a little insight as to just the why we're doing it? I mean, there's pros and cons in case you're not familiar. I mean, some of the negative sides of it, they take a lot of water and they take a tremendous amount of power. Okay, so that's the general thing I've certainly read about them. But they don't increase truck traffic once construction's done. And they bring some generally high-paying jobs into the area, potentially. Generally, there's a lot of power, obviously, may or may not produce some sound and whatnot there. And, one of the ones that we looked at was down in Loudoun County in Northern Virginia. And so it brings in a nice revenue stream. So.
We talked about this for months. We wanted to be ahead of the curve. We didn't want to react. All of a sudden, something comes in, stands before us at the podium, and we don't have an ordinance or anything. So we're trying to be proactive in that regard.
With talent and, all of that close to us and the river.
Yeah. Anything else in your report, sir?
That's all I have.
And Christy, thank you for your expertise in just explaining the ins and outs of that noise ordinance.
No problem.
Takes us to Byron's report.
Okay, first item is North Sherman Street PennDOT permit. So we have the PennDOT permit. We have the Sioux permit. We have to make PennDOT construction happy. We have to do the Sioux, and I'm waiting for clients to get back to me when they can bring a truck out there and hydro excavate and some of the lines. And then we need an easement from Mr. Snyder, which he's agreed to give us. I have Andy provided me with an easement agreement, and I'm just trying to coordinate with Mr. Snyder to get him to final sign that. That's the only reason we need that from him is that to fix the existing pipes, I think it's 3 feet outside the easement, and PennDOT says we need this to make them happy that they can get in and fix the pipe. So, as far as we applied for the general permit, we've addressed all their comments. PennDOT has approved the general permit for the work within, as they call the waters of the Commonwealth. From talking with Shane, it said the permit, when I started trying to run all this down, got sent from the South Central office up to Erie. And the Erie office was doing this, and they, in their wisdom, decided it needs to go to the Army Corps of Engineers for their approval. And the Army Corps has approved it, and Christie has signed that, and then PennDOT, as the contractor, has to sign it before, and then we send that back in the hand. So as far as Sherman Street, everything that we're supposed to have is it's within a week here of having our approvals. But again, the main approvals have all been obtained, all the permits. So.
When do you anticipate a shovel in the ground?
I would say spring of next year. Because we have to have everything done by September 1st. And then in December, it goes out for bid. PennDOT puts it out for bid. And then with spring, letting of the project in the spring.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a part of a much larger project.
Yeah,
It's
this
not
goes
just that
the whole way
section.
down to York City. This
Yeah.
project. Willow Springs cul-de-sac. Was up with Shane today. They have it stoned. If you haven't been down there, it's the cul-de-sac's in. We provided cut sheets. Shane's guys, and with the help of Emery Peters' group, they did. I thought looked good, and it's stoned. And I said, if Shane can probably say what it starts paving tomorrow.
Paving tomorrow, finish on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. The PennDOT permit to close that road has been submitted. We have waiting for comments back. The only thing Shane and I kind of talked a little bit was from talking with Chief Stevens. He doesn't feel that we need a siren activated gate, but we have to come up with what type of gates and where we won't put these gates. So I'm still trying to work through that a little bit, but
Some of that's dictated by the PennDOT.
by PennDOT. We're waiting for PennDOT to come back and say, yes, this is where we want our gate on their side.
We still have discretion on when we close it, right? Oh, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with that project is well on its way. Next project is the PennDOT work for Espresso Way improvements. I had a couple minor comments that we got here, had to deal with. They wanted an existing features plan signed by my surveyor. We have done that and resubmitted that. No changes from the layout that I previously showed you months ago. Everything from our meetings, the layout's moving forward. The other comment I think had to deal with, there's PennDOT right away, and then there's Township right away on Canal Road and on Espresso. We had it shown correctly. We had it as a brown line. They don't like brown lines, so I had to change my line to black and label it at one spot that says Township right, existing Township right away. So the comments, if my guy submitted it today, was going in back today. The revisions were done. My surveyor signed everything. The existing features plan. It was supposed to get electronically submitted today. If it didn't, it'll go in tomorrow. So that one's also moving along quite well, and that we should have approval in the next, say, 2 to 3 weeks at the most. So we'll have the 3 HOP plans that we were kind of working on. All should be in hand, and yeah, so we'll be ready for it. And that permit should be good for 1 to 2 years, and if we have to extend it, they'll typically let us extend it.
And it sounds like Hanover Company intends to start digging soon, and that's apparently dependent on a couple of factors, but my point is this work for Espresso Way could be done sometime next year by their crew. And, so that's hopeful.
Yeah, that was my question. I know they're gonna, as early as next month, they're gonna start moving soil. And we wanna take advantage of their labor and their equipment, so we're prepared for espresso. Okay.
That's right.
So there's not much I'm doing on it, it's again, it's minor comments. The next step would, kind of like they always do, they'll send a letter to, they'll probably copy Christie, maybe Shane, myself, it'll say this needs a 950 AA, I think it is. Sign this as acceptance of the conditions of the approval. I get a copy of that, so we'll review it. If there's anything out of the ordinary, we can bring that up to the board, but that would be, hopefully the next step is that we get that conditions of approval for signature, and then we're done.
So the logistics again are Espresso Way modifications first, then close Willow Springs Lane.
And that will not be popular.
No, I understand that. So be it. But from a safety standpoint, it will make that area much safer.
Just to clarify though, would that,
Absolutely.
if you don't mind, Canal Road though, doesn't need Willow Springs then, when they do, I just wanna
For the detour,
verify, yeah.
no.
Okay.
It was through Espresso Way, if I remember correctly.
It's through Espresso Way for the first little part, and then while they're on that first part before the bridge, that's when Regional Way gets temporarily finished out. And that will be the main
The other way
detour
down,
then after
right.
that.
And so the earliest that things could come up and Willow Spring closes down might be spring of 2026.
Yeah, Espresso Way has to be finished first.
Right, okay.
And then I still have, I mean, technically this year, only 2/3 of the cul-de-sac is done. I need to truly shut the road to finish the rest of the
Understood.
cul-de-sac.
And logistics of that other than Espresso Way, like are we putting any notices out to those businesses? Like variable message signs saying it's coming soon type of deal? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna need, I might even need to utilize Greg Creasy to, how do we post this legally that we're making a dead end, basically, is what we're doing.
Okay. Thank you.
The last item that I had was under my engineer's report is, especially this past month, I had several stormwater complaints, high water tables, water in my backyards, water from my neighbor, water from a subdivision, et cetera. I just, we've in the past have taken these on a case-by-case basis. You know, I've seen more springs pop up here in the last 3 months that of areas I was familiar with, and all of a sudden there's a spring, and one spring's about half the size of this room. And the guy's back, he basically lost his whole backyard, and that's out at Poplar Estates. And he wants to know what he can and can't do there. He's trying to rally he's trying to rally the neighbors to allow him to extend the storm sewer pipe the whole way down to the bottom of Poplar Estates and then tie into the inlet and go over into the pond. So I said, well, that's perfectly in your right if you guys want to do that, you know. So I guess in these situations, what is my response? Everybody's asking me, what can the township do for them is the short. I mean, at this point, I always say I need to go back and talk with the board. In some cases, I tell them, no, it's a private issue. Many cases, that's the situation. So I'm just kind of looking for maybe a little direction here. The biggest one that I have, it's been ongoing, when I say for over 3 years, it's been ongoing and that's out there by Rental Farm. That popped its head. I thought it was taken care of, and all of a sudden that popped its head back up, plus neighbors involved.
And they did do something, and we did get involved with that one.
Yes, and this is, a new neighbor came in and bought the one lot, and he's having, and when I went out there, I did go out because we had a complaint, and they told, Christine told me to go out and look at it. I was walking in about 2 inches of water on half his yard. again, it's one of these deals where I can't tell if if the adjoining subdivision caused the problem or not. It's always been wet out there since I remember. They're just looking for, are we willing to look at anything? And then the other lot has to deal with, hey, the water's coming up from my neighbor's property down over the bank onto me now. And I looked at it with him also. That was one spot where the infiltration pit had failed and we had them replace it. And they've done that. They've tied their downspouts back in. They've done a lot of work. They've addressed all our comments and concerns, but the gentleman still says that you still have some surface water that runs. At one point in time, there was a swale in the back that took everything and took it from this guy's property onto his neighbor's property and discharged it. Again, are we willing to look at it, look at this a little bit more? Am I telling them it's a private issue?
And from a staff standpoint, Byron and I look at every one of these to see if there are any ordinances that are actually being violated. And every once in a while, we have to get Attorney Miller involved to ask him for his expertise. And many times, as Byron is saying, it results in there's no actual violation or enforcement that we can do. So it becomes a civil complaint. And it's getting very hard to recognize what is, what should be our involvement and what should just be civil because of the high water tables and how hard it is to prove where the water is actually coming from.
And that's
if that
only
makes
because
sense.
of the recent storms this year.
Oh,
Prior to this year,
well, we've
Florida.
had high water tables for the past couple of years
Yeah.
now.
So- So if this was a situation where someone took a downspout and ran it right to the property line, I can address that,
right,
okay? In this situation, and the one I'm talking about with rentals, the two properties adjacent to rentals is the seepage pits were put in per the approved methods that were approved back in 2006 or 9 or whenever that went in. It was inspected, everything was put in properly and things like that. Is it functioning the way it's supposed to be? I don't think so but I can't quite tell because water goes down into the ground. These people are, from the neighbor's property, their backyard might drop 15 feet lower and the water's bleeding through the embankment. So is it going down, hitting the aquifer and going over to the stream? And in this case, no. I think it's coming through the bank.
so if you take that example and say you put dye in that pit, I assume to see where water's flowing from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it does flow through that bank. Whose problem is it? Township or is it property owners?
And that's where I need a little more direction. To me, it's, my ordinances, my stormwater ordinance that I use here defines, what has to be done to take care of stormwater. That was all done and properly done. At that point in time, we're getting down to, I have to make some assumptions on whether or not it's functioning properly.
So much like a septic system, at some point, septic systems fail.
Right.
I know mine did when I bought my property. I had to put a new one in.
Right.
Same thing occurs with this. They don't last forever, right?
Correct. So, in this situation, is there something to be done? Yeah, you could probably maybe put the swale that was there, or some 200 feet of drainage pipe to get it over to the gutter. And, that should take care of a lot of the problem. Okay, but who's responsible to do, at that point is, I'm not offering this. I know solutions that can be done.
Right, but it's not a township issue. So, if it's you and I have properties adjacent to each other, I put the system in and you're the lower lot and it's bleeding through the bank, what incentive do I have to go hire an engineer to do the dye test or whatever other test, right? I don't have an incentive other than maybe to be a good neighbor, right?
Yeah, so I'd like to get closure. Like I said, this one's been going on for 3 years. It was a different property owner, but the new property owner started, and they're very nice. They've been very nice to me. Very nice conversations and stuff like that. They're trying to cooperate with us and stuff like that. I'd like to get these closed out. If we tell them it's a civil issue, or can I come out and get permission to go out and do some dye testing? I'd be happy to go do that. I have the dye. The one property, it's going to be a little tough to dye because I'd have to put the dye in the stormwater pond, which is 1,000 feet away. I don't know how much that would dilute and pop up. So So I'm just looking for some direction. Do I work through with Andy on this? Do Shane and I look into it a little bit more?
Do they have an HOA or anything over there? Russell's?
They do have an HOA. Okay, I have not, I've sent them letters of issues about maintenance and things, and I get no reply on those. I was never on those two issues.
Yeah.
So at the time, also, on this one property, we got Triple Crown involved, and he offered, I think, the property owner $1,500 to, he gave him, $1,500. Well, that was probably 1/20th of what the cost was to actually do something out there, so he didn't accept, because he wanted the property owner to sign a paper that says, hey, once I give you this 1,500, we're out of it, you can't deal with us anymore, and he wasn't willing to do that. And that gentleman at his own cost went in and put in an under drain system to try to dewater it, which works to a certain point, and it just can't keep up with the amount of water. It's at the low point. It's at, before rentals ever started, when I walked that property and it was wet back in a little bit. So it's always been wet back there. It's just, it's probably gotten a little wetter, just because of the infiltration trenches.
I'm just curious about our legal obligation. If the development was approved way back when and everything was built to specs then, where do we pick up and say, okay, now we got to fix this again?
Yeah.
I'll be interested in hearing what our solicitor would have to say about research and that.
If that's okay, I'll send him an email. Just kind of, we've had some of these comments, I'll send him an email and just kind of, here's my problem properties. What do you suggest in these situations? This is what I found. I'll just send him an email, let him open the dialogue.
Who you sending an email to? Andy. You're doing the right things, Byron. You're trying to help out our citizens, and that's admirable. We got to utilize staff. We got to utilize Christine, Kate, Shane, and Andy. When you come up to the end of your road, you got to pass it on to Andy and have him send letters to the HOAs and stuff like this.
Okay.
If we have to divorce the township from civil complaints, and that's tough to do. You tried to differentiate between the two, and they're sometimes they meld together. But is there a failure of a system? Is there a design flaw? We would help where we can, but there's a line we got to stop at. Okay.
I think that just my weather station in my house, month of July, we had 7.56 inches of rain. That's just on my property. So, it's a lot of rain this past.
May was the highest rainfall in history.
So most people, they're very, when I go out there, like I met with the gentleman in Poplar Estates, he was very, anything we can do, would the township support him if if the group put the storms? I said, yeah, I think the township would be, I said it wouldn't require any permit, I'd like to see a little sketch plan or something like that, but we're not going to require a permit to put a little storm sewer down, an 18-inch storm sewer pipe down through the middle of a drainage swale. If that helps, if that helps 10, 12 residents, that's great. I thought, but it's these ones that are, it's a gray area where the water's coming from, et cetera. That's what I'm worried about. So
I think we would be open, and I can't speak for my two colleagues, but we would be open to discuss some remediation if say, the HOA would kick in and that sort of thing, to put some of these major ones that you have open to bed.
Right. Okay.
But we rely on your expertise.
Yeah, and it's gotten to the point where, again, if it's something I can visibly see, I can deal with it. The gentleman in Poplar, hey, you got a spring bubble one up here. This is coming. You got a storm sewer pipe that comes off Sherman Street extended. I remember when that pipe was put in and extended. I said, this is the solution here. It's going down through, but it's these ones that I can see that are, again, something. I don't want to say I'm against. We are required to had the developers do this infiltration and in certain cases, I don't think it works properly. And this is one case where I don't think it's working properly. However, now we got, after it was done and we see that physically it's not working, how do I address the issue? That's,
I don't think you do. I think you decide it's not working correctly, and then Andy gets involved. And we
Okay.
start, talking litigation with the HOA in regards for our citizen.
that's how I'll continue to proceed that way.
Does anybody else have any?
I just have a comparison, maybe would be like, our ceiling leaks over here, but we don't know where the rain's coming in, the roof somewhere else.
Yeah. All right, that's all I had on my agenda.
Okay, any questions for Mike?
No.
Okay. Takes us down to Shane, your report. Any questions on my report? No, sir. All good.
The only other two things I have the first one, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but since they're finishing up Maple Street the way it looks this week and all this mess is finally getting cleaned up, but Columbia Gas is coming back, from Bayshore School Road to Sunset Drive on George Street. And they're going in Cottage to Sunset and Rosedale. So in Smith Gardens, they're gonna be in there replacing all main lines and service laterals in them couple of roads there, so.
Oh, Loud Street and Clover Lane as well.
Clover Lane, and which goes into the borough to
Yeah.
Mustard Street.
Yep.
Yeah, so some of it will be in the borough. And another thing, gentlemen, I just received a call yesterday. PennDOT is going to be doing pipe work on Cadorus Furnace Road. I believe it's 4 pipes right around Mount Hebron Road. So in the upcoming weeks, the reason they contacted me was they need to close the road during working hours. So 7 to 3, 8 to 3, somewhere around there. The problem they're having when PennDOT detours a road, they are required to only use state roads. But the state detour for closing that part of Cadorus Furnace takes you out 24, Mount Zion Hill, Route 30, the whole way to Helm. It's a massive detour. So they're asking if the township would allow to detour to Saginaw Road, Market Street, 2nd Street to Riverview, which basically through Saginaw and out below Asbury Point. So I see no problems with it. It's not a big truck issue. Never seen a truck on Cadorus Furnace Road. I don't believe so.
Tell them the exchange, they bring their Tiger mower back and
Finish some of their other work, yeah. So I'm gonna approve that if it's okay with you guys.
I don't have an issue.
If I do see something or something,
Shane's call, I think.
I'll shut it down.
Agreed.
But, so,
That's your call, Mr. Director.
all right. That's the only thing I have then, gentlemen.
I got one request.
Yes, sir.
Columbia Gas, hold their feet to the fire, because their standard of cold patching needs to be much higher than what was
Yep.
performed in the boroughs.
This was already discussed, but let me say something here first. I have a real good person at Columbia Gas, I believe. But the last bit of work you have to remember on Maple Street was the water company. That wasn't Columbia Gas's cold patches. That was York Water, even though it was Kinsley. This last mess we had, that was the worst cold patching I've ever seen.
Yep.
That was York Water Company, not Columbia Gas.
Well, whether it's Columbia Gas or your water company, we got to
Correct.
be in their ear.
Yep, understood.
Yeah.
Yep.
'Cause
So
we don't-
any complaints, let me know, and I go directly to them. That's what I'm told to do, so.
Thank you.
And I did put this up on the website.
Two things for Shane. One, have you heard any movement about northbound traffic there at Sheets trying to make a left into Sheets? Okay.
No.
And then secondly, maybe you want to explain the Tiger mower comment I made about PennDOT, just for the benefit of the people.
As to why some things aren't being mowed,
Yeah.
or
Well,
when, On PennDOT roads?
Yeah.
So on PennDOT roads, we're always wondering why they bring in what they call their tiger mower, which is their big boom arm mower, which we also have to keep the brush pushed back, keep the trees trimmed back. And it always seems like they bring it in, they do one section, could be 200 feet, could be a quarter of a mile, but it's always one section, and then they leave. And half our roads, PennDOT roads, mind you, are growing shut. So one of my colleagues was telling me here, they have to do a study for every area that they're going to mow.
A study.
Might be a brown bat, might be an extinct squirrel.
Yeah, it's the they have to,
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's the PNBI's that
I'm
report.
serious, Mr. Naylor. Yeah. So you can't just mow anymore neither. Each one, DEP apparently has to look at it. So they mowed Mr. Snyder's the other week, on 24 out there, a month ago or so. And that was getting really, really bad. But as you see, that was the only section they did. Even though the S-turns are growing shut, apparently it takes a study, so.
Well, I'm gonna use that when my wife says, shouldn't you be mowing?
You gotta have somebody check it first, so. Yeah.
Thank you, Shane.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Naylor, something I mentioned to Shane here too, I looked at it again today when I was up, is there at Locust Point Road intersection with Zionsville.
Mhm.
What happens is, the trucks that are coming eastbound and go to make a left-hand turn, they don't stop. They shoot across onto Locust Point Road, so even though they have a red light, okay, no turn, the cars coming they just, and it's happened to me twice now. And I brought it up to Shane and I looked at it again. There's a light over on the Garrett property, a signal light. And it stays green, even though, so as you're coming eastbound from Espresso, you only see that light and it's green. And then right when you get up to where the light is and the left-hand turns red, you have a light in the left-hand lane that says it's green, your overhead signal's red, and these guys shoot across really because they've only seen that one light. And
Yeah, I still
looked
gotta
it
look
again.
at it, Byron.
Yeah, I looked at it again today, and that's,
I saw it.
Positioning,
yeah, well, I'm just curious as to why the light that's on the Garrett property is green when the left-hand turn lane light is red. And the only light these trucks can see is that one in the left until they get partway around the corner, and then it's too late and they're trying to shoot across. And I think if that light was be red when,
Well, see, the other problem I see too is the flashing left turn yellow.
it doesn't do that.
yeah, it does.
Yes, it
Yeah, it
does.
does.
It didn't do that today.
Coming from Willow Springs, it does, yes. It's a left turn on yellow, and the problem is, on yellow, first of all, people are just shooting it straight through. And second, I don't believe there's enough sight distance, which the engineers tell you there is, but with that bend there, it's not.
No.
So, especially for a tractor trailer.
Right.
So with that sight distance, you can look up there, but a truck that takes 3 to 4 seconds to get through that intersection, it's not enough sight distance.
Right.
And people are flying down that road, but yeah, which don't help me there, so.
So what's our solution?
I have to try to get the permit changed again. Right now, I'm in the process of getting my stop bar moved and a no right turn on red coming out of Locust Point. I just signed them papers yesterday and sent them back. So let me check it out and get with PennDOT and let me look at it first.
Again, my biggest suggestion there is if you, the light, it's just a single pole light there, it's just green and red, I think. If you switch it, when it's no left-hand, the light's red for no left-hand turn on the Locust Point, that light should be red also.
Right.
In my opinion. It's because that's all the truckers see, that's all anybody sees as you're coming up to that intersection, that corner.
Yep.
All you see is that one light till you get close to
Yep.
Wilbur's property there, and you start coming around, then you see all the other lights. But again, I think if that light switches to red, at the same time as the,
Or even flashing
or even
yellow, because
flashing
when I
yellow.
came through, it was flashing yellow, the left-hand turn signal, but
No.
when I was approaching, the light, that little light you're talking about was green.
Green.
And I
So-
could see why someone would have thought they could have just gunned it
Kept
to go
going.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right, so what would have to happen there, Byron, is they would have to keep the opposing traffic stopped. So get rid of the left blinking yellow arrow. That entire, coming that direction, that entire way goes green. Green arrow, green straight through. And, they do their thing, that stops, and then the left turn lane stops.
So
And then the other traffic.
it's just something I wanted to mention.
Just a
Yeah.
question, is there enough wire in the road to sense vehicle presence? Because we all know what'll happen. Those left-hand turns will be way too short in the light cycle. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you can
right?
still adjust that in the
You
box.
can,
Yeah.
but what they should do is cut the road surface and
Make it
put the
wider.
presence sensor wires back a little further would be my suggestion, Shane. I don't know, I agree, safety first, but
Yep.
we also know that people will hurry behind a tractor trailer.
They all do. There's one coming behind it as soon as they're trying to get through.
Can you back your trailer up a minute and get back to the stop bar moving? Again, same stop bar?
No. Where it's at now is where it's staying.
Okay.
I'm just now getting the final permit signed from PennDOT. for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I understand. Okay. Any other questions for Shane?
No.
Okay, that takes us into fire chief's report. Mr. Schroyer.
So one additional comment from Chief Stevens, he was having issues with the program. The estimated loss for June is $248,000. From the fire
Okay. So forth. Any other questions?
No.
We should ask him a few because he waited all this time, you know. Like,
I don't have any, sorry.
how's the, so when's the renovations of the halls begin?
Yes, it has begun. It should be completed towards the end of this month.
Okay.
So it'll be in place for our October.
Goodness. Thank you. Your County Regional Police Report. Darrell, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I'd like to add something. Eagles, report came late, it came yesterday. I thought I sent it to you guys, I saw, it doesn't look like I did, so I just forwarded it to you. I did say something to them, but otherwise, I was told that, I guess there's a new mandated program that everyone's gonna switch to, and it's, the old program is gonna be gone by February of next year.
It will be gone at the end of this year, so we have until the middle of January for dates for 2025 calls within the reporting software. This is coming from the state of Pennsylvania, the fire commission of the state of Pennsylvania. So new reporting, starting in January, will extend our reporting into
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep, that's all I have.
All right. Darrell, your County Regional Police Department comments. I wasn't at the last meeting.
I wasn't at the last meeting.
You weren't at the last meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we missed you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing really, more to report on your County Regional Police. If there's any questions, I'll answer them. Okay. Northeastern York County Emergency Management Agency, there's no one here to report on that.
He told me he didn't have anything to give. He has no updates.
And I was remiss to add you to special requests. You now have the floor.
Lake Starter, Susquehanna Lions Club. I would like to have permission to hold the Halloween parade on Sunday, October 19th. Hopefully everything else is the same as it's been for the last 10 years. About 5 years.
Okay, and you are here requesting, if we would like to donate any money to offset the cost.
I always accept money.
If I may,
Yes.
I believe that is something that needs to be added to an agenda at least 24 hours in advance.
So we can't act on his request tonight.
I'll defer to our solicitor, what specifically that rule states regarding the agenda and financial, motions,
I believe you're right.
yeah, and acts.
If it's gonna be a municipal expenditure, if you want to bring this to the board's attention this evening as far as it being a comment, that's one thing, but if you would like for them to make an official decision as far as municipal finances, then it should be an agenda item at the next meeting.
So Mike, thanks for coming tonight and bringing that to our attention. We're gonna debate what we wanna do,
Okay.
and we'll decide next meeting, and I'll give you
If I may, up to you guys, I'm gonna throw it out there. We do have a public advertised meeting for the 21st for financial review. We can add that to the agenda. It would be more than 24 hours in advance, unless you wanna keep that, solely to the financial review. It's up to you.
we will do that, if that's all right with everyone else.
Yes.
We'll put it on the 21st meeting, and we will notify you,
Okay.
so you don't have to come to another meeting.
But you're welcome.
But you're welcome to if you want.
If I may, what amount are you requesting, by any chance?
I don't really ask for an amount.
Okay.
The parade normally runs about $6,000. If we don't get that amount of money, I'd have to cut down on how much money that the nonprofits get. I usually pay them prize money times 2. So, okay,
Great, thank you.
okay.
That was the Lions Club.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, takes us to your report, Christie.
Looks like Dean went to the sewer authority meeting.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, too.
Oh,
A couple of us went, we had a party. We talked about, never mind. Sewer Authority, we're still short a board member. I'm 0 for 2 right now, I believe.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so as far as the big things going on there, Area 2, which is where I happen to live, there's no timeline for that sewer expansion in there. They've been using funds to go out and really beef up the rest of the infrastructure, things that haven't been taken care of. So we put out a bunch of contracts, Musser Run Pump Station and things of that nature are under work right now. So if you're interested in sitting on the Sewer Authority board, let us know, please.
What I found out when I was sitting there quietly listening to the authority do their work, which I commend them for doing. There is a lot of projects that their engineer wants to do, and they're coming up fast, and they're consecutive. And I question, do we have the funds? Do we have the funds to continue this rate of maintenance on that and put new equipment in? But we didn't have any representative that night. Tyler Kramnick, who was our other representative, he was unable to make it do the work. And we took a gentleman along to show him what this authority does and if he'd be interested in sitting on it, and he declined. And so we're still searching, but I gotta contact Tyler and talk to him about some of this stuff.
Okay.
Because we need some checks and balances in there, I think.
Fair statement.
Kate, how about your report?
Oh, I don't have anything to really add, just busy with permits and code enforcement. If anyone has any questions.
Permits are up this month.
Huh?
Permits are up this month.
They were, yes.
violations, mostly weeds, high weeds, grass ordinances.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for Kate?
No.
No.
Planning Commission meeting's gonna be, August 26th. And that's going to deal with what plans?
The map for the new, AI district
Okay,
for,
the data center ordinances stuff, okay. Any questions about the code enforcement report, officers report?
No.
No.
Recreation board, any news, anything new, Christie?
nothing.
Nada. Okay, at this point, 11.4, appreciation for Tom Beekler's service on the Sewer Authority Board. He recently resigned from the board, and I think Darrell has a proclamation he'd like to read.
Yes. The appreciation recognizing the years of service of Tom Bigler to East Manchester Township. Whereas East Manchester Township is a second-class township duly organized and existing under the second-class township code, and whereas Tom Bigler served the township for a total of 1.5 years as East Manchester Township appointed representative on the Northeastern York County Sewer Authority Board from January 1st, 2024 till till June 1st of 2025. Whereas Tom Bigler has otherwise selfishly served the East Manchester community and through his advocacy and leadership has ensured the sewer authority provided reliable and efficient sewer services, ensuring the community's health and sanitation standards were met, and the East Manchester Township Board of Supervisors on behalf of the entire East Manchester community hereby expresses appreciation for and gratitude to Tom Beekler and recognizes his distinguished, selfless, continuing service to the citizens of East Manchester Township. Appreciation by the Board of Supervisors of East Manchester Township on the 12th day of August, 2025.
Thank you for reading that, Darrell. And Tom did good work while he was there. Takes us into correspondence. So WellSpan EMS Ambulance is extending all current ambulance memberships from June 30, 2025 through December 31st, 2025 at no additional cost. New ambulance membership materials for 26 will be mailed to you. And this is to our residents or to us?
Both.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, and even commercial and everything.
Good.
All membership notices are extended.
So the new materials will be mailed to you in November of 25. I'll make a motion that we approve and pay all bills.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Supervisor comments, Dean?
Just ready to have a fun financial meeting later this month. Gearing up, basically to go through where we are year to date, which generally looks pretty good, and then starting the preparation for our budget process, which is, I think, the month of October.
Mm-hmm. 22nd is the budget meeting.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
And this is something new that we do. We do what we're doing quarterly financial.
Trying to do quarterly. So we'll have 3 basically this year.
Yeah, so that we can exactly know where we're at and where we're going financially. I think it's a good thing. Darrell?
Okay. Say a lengthy report, but Senator Kiefer held a roundtable discussion Monday morning, yesterday morning at the Newburgh Emergency Services Building. And she first of all spoke about the data centers and talking about the noise, the water, and the power draws. And Constellation is going to be restarting TMI, and that TMI powers mainly for a data center. The conversations they're having with the PUC, they also looked at this power draw shouldn't be really placed on average citizen's house or because they're the ones drawing all the power. So they're looking at, they were told at one point, no, they have to, rate increase has to affect everybody, but they think they have maybe a loophole, so to speak, that somehow they can pass the costs on to the data centers of producing more power. Talked about warehouses, and she said that if we have warehouses coming up, we should ask PennDOT for real-time modeling for traffic surveys instead of just letting them count how many cars is there and trucks. And she recommended that, and we'd reach out to her office whenever we're having issues with PennDOT. She said one municipality was told that PennDOT only returns phone calls on Wednesdays and Fridays. So she said, I think I got that corrected. And if there's any issues with PennDOT that's taken 2 or 3 months, she would like to know about it, because then she can get a chance to work on it. I went to ask Chief here, talked about volunteer fire departments. Vehicle accidents are probably one of the bigger calls I respond to. Did something change? You're not allowed to collect reimbursements from the insurance companies? Okay, because the folks from Cumberland County were saying there was a law passed and their fire companies could ask them for reimbursements from the accidents. So, yeah, the insurance companies, so continue doing what you're doing. And she talked about taxes. She's looking at property tax. She'd like to try and eliminate the property taxes, increase the sale income, and some pension tax, that would eliminate the school taxes. She advised that your county school funding they only get 30% from the state, and some of these other counties are getting up to 80%. Stated that the last 4 years, the state has lost 140,000 students, yet the school districts have gained 120 to 130,000 employees. So she's looking at that trade-off. She said there is a calculator on her website. I couldn't find it today, but if you plug in your numbers and what the new increase in all these other taxes and you subtract, the calculator would subtract your school taxes when you plug it in. She said you should come out ahead of the game. It's something no prop tax, but I haven't been able to find that yet, so I was going to reach out to her office and see what that was. Up around suggested that we join council COG, which is Council of Governments, because there might be some funding grants in there for fire companies that could be used. I then brought up some issues. Senate Bill 194, which is the legal advertisements, and explained to her how much we pay every year in the school district combined. In 2023 spent over $6 million on legal ads, and why can't we do this another way instead of being at the mercy of the newspapers? The House Bill 825, excuse me, that passes, that would direct the PUC to create a rule that the utility companies have to remove any damaged, unused poles. And I explained it took me a year to get the Verizon pole from my property. And I even told them there's 2 more poles just a quarter mile up the road, they won't touch them. But if you drive around, even in our own communities, you can see all these Verizon poles. They're cut and they're just still standing there next to a head pole. I mentioned about emissions, that 25 out of 67 counties have emissions, but why isn't all of us, or some of the other things are newer vehicles, they're designed to handle emissions and not, be fouling up the air. The other question I posed to her, I said, people in Perry County don't have to get their car emissions inspection, but I said, if they drive to Harrisburg to work every day, they're emitting all those foul emissions, and why isn't that caught? So she's got to look into that. Also got on the recreational marijuana being a cash cow, and there were so many negatives on that. Yep, that was all I covered with her, but it was a very good discussion. Conowaga was there. And there was a couple municipalities from Cumberland County, Maine boroughs. And I think there were three townships in York County, but she did a very nice job. We asked her to do this again. And she did say if we have any issues, we, more than happy to meet with us and discuss anything. She is, as a matter of fact, to mention, she's the chair of local government.
Well,
that concludes my.
Thank you, Darrell, for the update, and thanks for going and representing us
Yep.
during that time. The only comments I have, and then we're going to revert back to the chief, he may have something to say to us, is that I interact with a lot of people, and I answer a lot of questions when I'm out. Here in Lake, though, when I'm in Giant, the main thing I'm talking about is what's going in the old sheets and what's going on in Willow Springs. So other than that, they don't have any other issues. So that's a good thing, I guess. And I don't know what's going in the old sheets. So, Chief, any words of wisdom for us tonight?
I have no words of wisdom other than talking about cats up in the Mapple Borough.
I seen there's a couple missing. Yeah,
I
there.
told them that, a while back, we trapped the cats at the police station, and we just released them. And we get neutered and spayed and released them, and that's where we released them, that's the little Mapple Borough.
Sure.
But anyway, I stopped by and see if there's any questions, comments, concerns, issues that need to be addressed with the township.
Any questions from anyone? Okay. Well,
Yeah, more than one troll.
Yes, we do.
Well, back at all, they said they're really looking for the troll.
We may only have one covering the area that, whatever, the township at the time.
I mean, there's people speeding and violating the laws all the time. There's never a cop there when you need one. So, are short-handed or?
I can tell you what, if you call in, and you can let me know which areas you're having trouble speeding, particular times or anything like that, we can actually put someone on to address that. Because sometimes the patrol officer, a lot of times they're out handling calls or in the area. But if we know specifically, like, between 7 and 10 in the morning, this is where the issues are, then we can direct our patrols.
and Chief, thanks for the sign up at York Street.
Yeah, absolutely.
It seems to be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's working.
So when are you going to pour the cement pad so it can stay there? Any other comments from anyone in the audience? We do not need executive, am I right, Mr. Solicitor? Do you need executive?
No, we don't.
We don't need it. Does anyone need an executive?
No.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Good meeting.
Yeah, you got it, bud.
Thoroughness.
That's good. Sorry for your loss.